Z Brody, what's going down? I hear you've got some content on deck for the fans that involves my green and gold. This is Dallas Braden, A's broadcaster, Baseball is Dead podcaster, and the creator of Slab Lab. Go check it out on YouTube. Z Brody, I really only have one bit of advice. With all the boppers all around the ball diamond and the young arms ready to emerge, my only advice to you is, you better not blow this. Do not screw this up.
When you look around Major League Baseball right now, one of the most exciting young offenses is the Athletics. You've got Shea Bangaliers behind the dish, who had a breakout last season. In the outfield, from left to right, you've got Brent Rooker, Denzel Clark, and Lawrence Butler. At shortstop, you've got Jacob Wilson. You've also got Tyler Soderstrom recently extended, and I haven't even mentioned the man, the big Amish Nick Kurtz.
One-two, high drive to center field. He has done it again. Take a bow, curtsy.
So with this young core, I have got 3 seasons, 3 episodes to go all in with the A's. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. You are not going to want to miss this series. Now, if you've seen some of my rebuilds before, this is going to be a little bit different because the outcome is not predetermined. I am not going to play until we win a World Series. There is pressure on me here. There is a timeline of 3 seasons, 3 opportunities to get it done. So I've already simmed through 2025, and I did do the MLB draft, which you're seeing some of in the background. However, I did not sign our number 1 overall pick because our number 1 overall pick is already on the roster, who you will see in a minute. But we did do very well in this draft with some high potential starting pitchers, which is a main focus for us looking ahead towards the upcoming seasons. And also, Nick Kurtz was an all-star this year, and he had a 951 OPS at the break. He was absolutely dominating. Can't wait till next season. Now, we did finish that 2025 season 66-96, so quite a bit worse than the A's did in real life, 10 games worse. And now you are up to speed here. You are all caught up. We are in the beginning of the offseason for 2026, and here is the actual first round pick from the A's in real life, left-handed starter Jamie Arnold, who I do have very high hopes for here in the coming seasons as a big part of this series. For now, he's continuing to develop in Double-A along with our other high potential prospects, including Leo DeVry, who may factor in later on. He was traded to the A's from the Padres at the deadline of 2025. So the elephant in the room here for this series is that the A's have really struggled to find good pitching to match with this good offensive core. And if we take a look at how some of the guys did last year, Luis Severino is the ace, and he probably will stick around. He was okay with a 4.27 ERA. I've also got some hope for Jeffrey Springs, who actually pitched better, and he's on a pretty team-friendly deal here. After that, though, things are pretty rough between Morales here and Beto and Jacob Lopez. Gunnar Hoglund, too, did okay, but most of the guys struggled, and that has got to be the focus here, especially in the early seasons. We also need to have some major upgrades here in the bullpen. A lot of these guys had ERAs over 4 or even 5, although we might be able to keep Mitch Spence as a long reliever here. He's got some more team control, and he's got good walks per 9, so he might stick around. I don't plan to do a whole lot with the lineup. We're going to try to keep all these guys here the best we can. We may upgrade at third base and maybe second base here. But for the most part, these are going to be our guys. That is the whole point of this series, really. The last thing I want to call out here before we really get into this is the budget. And even though the A's have shown a tendency to spend, they just extended Tyler Soderstrom, which we're going to do in a moment, they're still pretty middle market, and they don't give out too many big deals. They try to make some savvy plays, so that's how we're going to operate. We're not going to go like sign Tarek Skubal or something when he becomes a free agent. I'm probably going to keep our budget somewhere around $150 million per year or less. That's my rough plan. On the pitching side in free agency, there's a couple of guys I like right away. There's actually a few, but my higher budget option is Tyler Mahle, who's got a potential coming off of an excellent year. Legitimately, he could be our ace for this entire video. He's the first guy that I'm throwing on my board. The second guy that I like a lot here is down a little bit further, and it is a guy that I've signed before. It's Walker Buehler, who should have some more room for growth. He did not pitch last year, so he's a little bit less of a known quantity, but he's only asking for about $7 million per year. I also just remembered that Jeff McNeil is now a member of the A's, so I gotta figure out a trade for him. here from the Mets. This happened recently, and since we did take a bunch of those pitchers, I'm just going ahead and going to trade David Vargas. His hits per nine, I just think, is going to hold him back, but he does have high potential, and the Mets are willing to do this deal, so that is going to be our first trade here. Now, it is yet to be seen if the A's are going to extend Shea Langoliers at all in this offseason. They're still working through that. They did give him arbitration at about $5 million, I believe the estimate was. But for this video, I think it makes a lot of sense to just lock him up here. So I'm going to be working on a deal and just paying him for right up front here for the 3 years of arbitration and the 3 years of this video. And hopefully we can get a good deal. There's not many better catchers in the league right now. Back to free agency, I'm definitely going to have to retool this bullpen for sure. And I see a couple good lefties here that I want to get on the board early. There's not that many guys that are still free agents available in real life at the time of recording this. This is December 28th here. Jalen Beeks is one of them, so I'm going to get him on the board to start. And another thing before I keep moving forward here is I need to extend Tyler Soderstrom. That already happened in real life, and it was a 7-year, $86 million deal, so I'm going to try to replicate that the best I can here. Looks like I can get this across the line. It's actually pretty spot on here. 7 years at 86 makes him fairly interested, and hopefully he accepts that. It looks like Tyler Mahle is pretty interested here right away at 65%. I want to go 3 years on the deal, and I think we need to bring it down a little bit since he wants to join us. Let's go for 3 years, 18. I think that should work out okay. This is definitely going to be our biggest contract here. It's about as big as we can go here. Okay, we are looking for our ace here. First try, not yet. Meanwhile, both Langoliers and Soderstrom have accepted their deals here, and that brings our salary up to $96 million. Looks like we're in a pretty good spot right now. Okay, round 2, I actually went a little bit lower this time, and he is in. That is perfect. 3 years, 16. He'll be here all series. Step 1, we have got ourselves an ace, and I can move everybody down. I feel good enough about Severino and Springs for now. The Nats are rebuilding pretty heavily here, and I'm wondering if they'll give me Xavier Curry, who's only 67 overall right now, but should project pretty well. This is one of the guys I usually like to get, and I can get him for a C potential starter. We've got some depth deep in the farm system here, so I'm going to make this deal. Now, the Royals are looking for a center fielder, and I'm okay giving up J.J. Bleday here, and I want to trade for James MacArthur, high walks per 9. That is going to be my next move in the bullpen. There's going to be a lot of moves. I'm trying to go through them quickly in Season 1. I now want to trade with the Pirates for a potential closer of the future here drafted in the last draft class, and they want some relievers. I've got a couple I'm willing to give up, and a third base prospect here, Tommy White. That gets the job done. Still waiting on Buehler to go up in motivation, and I'm going to offer a 2-year deal here to Jalen Beeks and lowball him. Nobody else is interested. I do believe Jacob Junis here is still a free agent in real life. Didn't pitch a whole lot in this simulation. Stats look good. I'm going to offer him a 2-year deal at 3.6. And with Jalen Beeks on board, the bullpen is really coming together. Now, we were terrible last year, so we've actually got a shot here at a high pick in the draft lottery, which could be impactful later on in this series or give us some more trade capital. Hopefully we can stay towards the top of this board, and we go up to third. That's perfect. The Rule 5 is a little bit light here this year. I think our best option is going to be Tyson Miller with that elite walks per 9. Control, velo, and break are not very impactful in this game, unfortunately, so I don't have to factor that in too much, and he's going to be my first pick here. And looking through everybody else, I think he's actually going to be my only pick. Getting close to wrapping up here, I'm going to give Walker Buehler a 1-year deal. No one has been interested. I've had him on the board this entire time, so once again, going as low as I can here. Decision time. Welcome to the team. So here is a look at our rotation right now. Mahle, Severino, Buehler, Mitch Spence coming over from relief, and Jeffrey Springs. I think we're a lot better. And to fill out our bench and hit lefties a little bit better, I want to bring in Santiago Espinal. I swear we're almost done with this offseason. The only returning member of this bullpen is Gunnar Hoglund in long relief. Everybody else is brand new. I also grabbed Johnny Loizaga. He was hanging around in free agency at the end. And here we go, opening up at home here in Sacramento, the first game of this series. We should have, at worst, a top 10 offense in the league, and as long as our pitching staff is decent, like that strikeout right there, we should make the playoffs. What I mean by decent is if our pitching rotation is top 12 or so in the league, as that is a laser from Nick Kurtz put right to second base. If our pitching rotation is also around top 10 in the league, we should be a pretty good team. After his extension, Tyler Soderstrom at the plate here. Full count pitch on the way from Soriano is hung, but grounded, and it gets past the third baseman for a leadoff hit. Zach Geloff at the plate now. with reverse splits, but he strikes out and Soderstrom is stranded. Maley's third inning of work here, Mike Trout down 1-2, flies out into right, and it's 3 clean innings to start his career in an A's jersey. Now we get our first look at Jeff McNeil in an A's uniform, the Mets in complete teardown mode. McNeil steps to the plate and grounds it to second. Quiet opening day for both teams so far. The Angels are not very good, so I'd definitely like to get a victory today. 5 scoreless innings from our ace, and now hopefully the revamped bullpen can be solid here on opening day. Maybe we can get on the board here finally in the 8th with a leadoff runner on, and Nick Kurtz at the plate. No doubter into right, stay fair. That is long gone. The big Amish gets 2026 started here with a 2-run shot. All we need now is for Tyson Miller to complete the save, and with that strikeout, he gets it done. The A's win the first game of the year. So let's start to move through this regular season here as we take the second game and the third game, and it's a 4-game sweep of the Angels to open the gates. Texas Rangers are leading the division early here in the season, and we're down 1 here in the bottom of the 9th as Shea Langoliers, our catcher, steals second to get into scoring position. Severino had an excellent start today. We just have not been able to get him any run support so far. There's a base hit from Butler that should tie the game. And here we go, deploying our lefty killer Santiago Espinal off the bench. This is exactly why he is on this team, for situations like this, and there's a base hit into right. That's going to get into the corner. Rangers go to the bullpen now for Ryan Stanek as Jeff McNeil is going to lay down a bunt. It's a squeeze play, and it's a walk-off. Very well done offensively there to get that win, and now trying to win this series. Looks like we're in another big spot. This time the bases are loaded for Brent Rooker. Cloudy day here. It's Ryan Stanek on the mound again. That fastball's right down the middle. That should be deep enough. Carter to the cutoff man, going home, not in time. It's another walk-off. Back-to-back games, and McNeil scores this time. 2 homers for Soderstrom in that game, by the way, and Nick Kurtz got one. We are off and running here. Seems like offensively we're clicking, although we lose those 2 games against Seattle, and we're currently 8-7, still just behind the Rangers. And Doug Aguilar did move up the board here after a week, so I'm feeling pretty good about him, but I do have to question the facial hair choice there. I mentioned that I'm going to be looking at the highest potential, most valuable players that I can find, although if there is a college player like a pitcher or maybe an infielder that can help us out immediately, I'm not opposed to that either. Unfortunately, Aguilar fell down the board here after another week, so probably not going to pick him. I couldn't get a scout with high enough efficiency to fully scout in 2 weeks, which could be a little bit of an issue. There does seem to be a lot of very promising starters that are starting to move up the board here in the international region, and William Lee might be the type of guy that can start right away. He's going to be a high floor, and his ceiling is going to be only about an inch higher than the floor. Let me shift over and start scouting some of these center fielders now. I want to see if either Lucero or Schoenheist is going to be good. We've got Denzel Clark out there, but I wouldn't mind somebody with a little more pop like Lucero, and Schoenheist has some more contact. Very good stretch of games for us here now towards the end of April. We win 5 out of 6 during this week, including a sweep of Baltimore, and we have overtaken first place at 17-10. And it looks like Lucero's going to be pretty good. He has stayed as the number 1 ranked player in the class, so I am for sure going to finish his profile. And after finishing the profile, he's still ranked number 1. He should have probably mid to high B potential, but also is going to be in the high 60s overall, so he could maybe help us out during this series. A week into May, we're starting to really take shape here. 24-14, we just swept the Angels and won this series against Seattle, 2 teams in our division. We are out in front by 4 games right now, and let's take a look at a couple stats real quick. I want to see offensively where we're at. We're not quite top 10 in the league in runs scored. Actually, we're 19th. A lot of room for improvement still there. But what I really want to see is where are we in ERA? We're 8th, so we're top 10. That is a huge improvement. Our new bullpen has been great so far. Curry, Beeks, Miller, and Junis all pitching well. Miller is our closer, and he's 12-1 in save opportunities. Nobody's going nuts in the starting rotation, but the average ERA here is so much higher for us between Severino and Maley. Buehler having a good season, and Springs at a 4.06 is not too bad. Offensively, it's been the Nick Kurtz show. 1.083 OPS up to this point, slugging out of his mind, and Rooker's right there behind him. A few guys with 700 OPSs, but it seems like third base not working out too well between Espinal and Geloff. Still scouting starters here. I'm now discovering position players, looking over at the infield, and I thought that Steven Jackson was going to be kind of a mid-round gem that would move up the board here, but it's not looking like the case for him at catcher. However, there is another one that I want to look at here in Freddie Castellano, although I'm not sold on him. For picks 3 through 5 for us in this draft, I've got to try to find some good options here that we can get some high value. Another update here, finishing out May, we've just won 6 in a row, and 11 of our last 12 games were 39-18, one of the best teams in the league. I didn't realize how much power was on this roster between Kurtz, Rooker, Soderstrom, Butler, and Langoliers. They all have at least 12 home runs right now. And as a matter of fact, we're second behind the Mets in home runs as a team. It looks like Castellano might be pretty good here, but I've got to scout him for another week. In positive news, I did just discover the 11th ranked left fielder in the class. He does look pretty good. And we also found the 62nd ranked player, a center fielder, although I'm not sure if he's going to be good. He's definitely going to have a lot of speed. Down in Double-A, Jamie Arnold is up to 74 overall, continuing to improve all of his stats, and he's got a 3.26 ERA. I want to see a little bit better out of him before he gets the nod up to Triple-A. We're not quite in a rush here yet. He should be a very impactful player for us at some point, and we've got a bunch of other starters that we drafted too that are all in Single-A trying to improve before they start playing games. Our possible closer of the future is also in Double-A here, Chacon, who we drafted back in 2025, and he's got 14 saves and 17 attempts. The whip is a little bit high, and it seems like he's given up some home runs. We also need to check on Leo DeVry, who should be taking over the third base spot at some point. He's got a 759 OPS in Double-A, up to 71 overall. Still need to see more out of him. And lastly, the left fielder that I drafted back in round 3 of 2025 has over a 1. OPS. He's 73 overall. I believe he had 89 potential. I need to work on his defense, but he might be joining us around the same time as the other guys I just mentioned. So the team's looking pretty good. The farm system is looking pretty good. I am happy with things right now in Season 1. It looks like Castellano might be a decent mid-round option for us here. We could use a better backup catcher in the farm system, but let's shift over and take a look at Alvin Liu here now. I want to find some great position players, but again, we also could use some good pitching talent, and there are some nice options. I'm currently scouting the East region, and we'll see what comes out of that. Back to work here. We did lose 4 in a row, but then we go ahead and win 4 in a row, including a dominant sweep of the Giants, but we do lose 2 here to the White Sox, which is not good. Still well in front in the division, beating out the Mariners by 6 games, and taking a look over here, Alvin Liu's looking pretty good. Very good contact, might have a high floor, could be an impactful player if we can get him. There is also this starting pitcher here, Freddie Cabral, who's moved up quite a bit at 19, and if you want to talk high floor, this guy's definitely got one. There's going to be some interesting options for us when it comes draft time in 5 or 6 weeks here. And after losing those first 2 games against the White Sox, it would be nice if we could come back here in Game 3 of the series. We'll have to come back against a lefty, though. I've mentioned that that's not great for us. Kurtz's on first. Here's a 1-2 to Brent Rooker, and he's hit with the pitch. That's going to bring up Tyler Soderstrom, also 0 for 4 today. With nobody out, we put ourselves in good position to make a comeback here, but that looks like a weak flyout from Soderstrom. Getting swept by one of the worst teams in the league would not be a good look for us. Butler, into right, back to the track, it's caught, and we do end up getting swept. Of course, we're still leading the division, but that is not a good sign. One thing that is good to see, though, is we've jumped way up offensively in runs scored. We're now 6th in the league. Really, that's where we should be, if not even a little bit better with how good this offense is. Ahead to July 5th now, we're 55-34, 7 games up on the Mariners. Unfortunately, I have not had any luck with late-round gems. I moved over to first base. This guy's fallen down the board, and I'm just finishing out scouting pitchers. I went back to Discovery, and I haven't found anything there either, so the depth of our class might not be too good towards the bottom picks. The team continues to play great, and now here we are for this draft. And Manny Lucero is, without a doubt, my favorite position player. Power hitting, great defensive, and speed center fielder with a high floor. And I can't remember exactly. I actually think this was the guy that I drafted and didn't sign back in 2025. It shows that he was drafted round 1 of that year, but I can't remember his name, and I just grabbed whoever was at the top of the board because I knew I wasn't going to sign him. So he is back here, and that would probably be my preferred choice, but there are so many other good pitching options, some of them with high floors like William Lee, and then Philip Suzuki is the #1 ranked player in the class, and he's got a great build. He's also 18. It's just whether or not he's going to have a high enough overall to impact us. I've got so many good pitchers on the board. This draft is all about taking impactful players for us or high potential players. So that's how I'm going into this. Alvin Liu is our 1 good discovery position player for later in the class. I did find a couple discovery pitchers that are okay, and we've got only 2 mid-round position player options. This power hitting first baseman has guaranteed high potential, but Nick Kurtz does play first base for us. What are the other teams going to do? That is what matters now. With the first overall pick, the Reds take William Lee. And now 2nd overall, the Rockies take Pedro Liriano. I might have gone with Lee. We'll see. Obviously, that's not an option for us now. It is so hard for me to pass up some of these good pitchers, but with Jamie Arnold there and some other good options, I think the best bet here is to go with Manny Lucero. That is going to be our third overall pick, and if Clark doesn't work out in center or we want to move on from him, Lucero will be next in line. With our 31st pick here, I think my best bet is to go with the pitcher Harvey Ortiz. Should have high B or maybe low A potential, and I like that he has good hits per 9 or walks per 9. He might have a low overall, though. And I'm going for value and potential again here with pick number 43, going for another starter, Chad Williams. I don't love the hits per 9, but he again should have high potential and could be a very valuable trade piece. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to miss out on our high potential first baseman here, Raul Villanueva. Kind of wanted to take him, but we're not going to be able to do that. I also lost another guy here, and that was our catcher, Freddie Castellano. Since we have so many good starters left on the board that I can take later, I kind of want to go for a closer here and just risk it that maybe Fukudome is going to be good with that guaranteed high potential range. Closers are usually pretty broken in this game, but I didn't scout them, so we're going to have to see. And the rest of this draft is going to be me taking all these Discovery starters, so I'll probably cut the clip here and we'll see how they look in the beginning of August. Straight out of the draft, the bases are loaded for us here against the Guardians, all tied up at the top of the 9th, and one of the best closers in this game, Cade Smith, is on the mound. He has got a very good fastball and splitter combination, and there you see the high heater, which Clark chases. The shifty Wilson already down 1-2 here. Smith delivers, and that's strike 3. And this game would end up going all the way to the 12th, where the Guardians would end up beating us 9-8. Both teams put up 4 in the 10th. No worries, though. We're still playing great. And looking at the All-Star voting, let's see who we've got here. I'm surprised that neither Langeliers or Kurtz are on the board here at catcher or first base. Our All-Star this year is actually Brent Rooker, having a nice season and continuing to develop. He's got a 951 OPS, 28 homers, and 61 RBI. He's already right about where he was at a full season last year. He leads the way for us offensively with Kurtz behind him, who's fallen back to just an 891 OPS, which is funny to say that's not too good for him. As far as the other full-time guys, Soderstrom, Wilson, and McNeil are all playing well, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised with Denzel Clark at a 724 OPS. He's adding some contact and power against righties, and obviously that defense is still elite. The most disappointing guys have been Langeliers, Butler, and Espinal, as well as Geloff. We really might need to find another option at third base at the trade deadline if there's the right fit for us. Maley is pitching like the AC is for us with a 2.90 ERA so far and continuing to develop. We're going to have him for this full series. Severino with a 4.06 is okay, but Walker Buehler is really struggling now. I'm hoping that he could turn this around, or we might have to look elsewhere. And then Mitch Spence and Jeffrey Springs have been pretty good. Springs has actually been great, although he is starting to regress, and we've got him for another year. He might end up being a long reliever going forward. The real strength of the pitching staff is the bullpen. Tyson Miller's 27-3 in his save opportunities. Both Beeks and Junis have ERAs under 2, and then our middle relievers have all been pretty solid. I'm very happy with this. Just like Christian Scott, Xavier Curry is one of my recurring characters in my videos, and he is not disappointing and continuing to develop. The only thing that hasn't really worked out is the Johnny Loizaga experiment, so I've moved him into the second long relief hole to try and hide him while he continues to develop. I've got him for another year. We are looking to sweep Texas here on a rainy day, down 1 in the bottom of the 10th, and I think teams know that we struggle against lefties. I feel like every game I enter, it's a lefty on the mound. That hasn't stopped us from absolutely dominating this division so far, but Nick Kurtz can't catch up to that heater. And he's pissed off. A lot of velo on the 4-seam from Robert Garcia. He's been cutting down Brent Rooker pretty easily, but he misses with that one. It's a walk. Rain continues to come down. Here is Soderstrom in a 2-2 count. He strikes out. That leaves it up to Shea Bangaliers. 2 homers in the series so far. I think I said before he's a little better against lefties, so decent opportunity for us. That's murdered, put right to Jung at third. I've been entering some games to see if we can make the comebacks. We have not been able to do it lately, but we do win that series against Texas anyway. And I now want to take a look at the trading block. There are some pretty interesting options here, and I see someone right away that I'm interested in, and that is second base Colt Keith, but the key is that he can also play third. Keith is on a deal that makes a lot of sense for us at $4.8 million a year. That is right up our alley, a long-term pre-arbitration extension. I think in real life this would cost quite a bit considering that good deal, so I've got to throw in a B potential starter, Carlos Duran, but I'm okay with that. We just drafted a ton of starters, and I think this deal makes so much sense for the A's. And Keith is going to come in and replace Zach Geloff for now at third base, and Geloff can go ahead and sit the bench and be a defensive and speed replacement. I still want to give Espinal a shot against lefties because of how good that contact is, but if he doesn't pick it up towards the end of this season, he's going to get replaced by Keith too. Meanwhile, Jamie Arnold's figured things out here in AA, got his ERA down to a 2.54, so I'm going to move him up to AAA and let's test the waters there. Same thing for this left fielder that I drafted last year, Braden Baker. Let's get him up to AAA. He's absolutely kicking ass in AA. So we've made some trade deadline additions to the team here, but Severino's doing it himself today against the Angels. We are in the bottom of the ninth, up 5-0, and he's got a complete game shutout on the line here. Severino is a very important guy for our playoff success down the road. He's got a 4.20 ERA and is currently our number 2 starter. I'd like to see that get a little better. I thought he was more of a sinker-sweeper guy, but he's gotten the job done today with his four-seam. There's a sinker in on the hands, and that's going to be out number 1. Shonowell with the laser, but right to second base. McNeil's got it. That's 2 down. Only one more guy to get here. It's none other than Mike Trout. He grounds to first. That's a base hit past Kurtz. This might be Severino's last batter of the game. Here comes pitch number 102 to catcher Danny Jansen, and he lines that up the middle. Denzel Clark gets there, and Severino gets the job done. Very impressive outing. We would sweep LA in that series, but we did lose this series to Seattle, and they are our closest contenders in the division, just 4 games behind. The improvements to the pitching staff and bullpen are making a huge difference for us, and now let's take a look where we've probably got some more additions to the pitching staff, and that is in our new draft picks, and that is a lot of blue right there. I'll go through all the pitchers in a moment, but let's first take a look at our one position player, center fielder Manny Lucero, whose defense and speed is great, and he's got a power profile. He is 68 overall, but the contact vision and discipline have a little ways to go. I don't know if we'll see him during this series, if he's going to be good enough to replace Denzel Clark. 86 potential there. I think that's a pretty good pick. That's about what I expected. And now let's take a look at our closer here, Arnold Fukudome, who has 91 potential and 62 overall. 4-seam curveball and cutter. I like the pitch mix, although that doesn't have as much of an impact if you've seen that video I posted. But anyway, probably not a huge chance that Fukudome joins us in the majors, but a high potential closer, I'll take that. And finally, before we go to the starters, I did end up finishing out this draft with a reliever that I didn't scout, and he has 88 potential. The clutch is bad. He's left-handed. For this series, he'll just be some depth in our farm system or a trade piece, but I do like Rodrigo Castro. And now let's get into our most valuable picks of the draft, starting with Harvey Ortiz, who unfortunately is only 55 overall. He does have a nice build, and he could be good trade capital. He would tear it up in the minors with that hits per 9 and walks per 9. My third pick was Chad Williams here, who is very similar to Ortiz, 55 overall, this time with 88 potential, and again, he does have a nice build, but these guys are really going to be important trade pieces. Our highest potential starter is Eloy Hairston with 94 potential and 58 overall. Great pick for us this late in the draft. Another high B potential starter in Ozzie Chacin, this time though only 51 overall, so even further away, but as I've said multiple times, these are very valuable trade pieces. And our last starter is probably the worst just because he's 21 with 85 potential, 57 overall, Leonardo Benitez. We absolutely cleaned house here in this draft. I think it was Cabral that was the high overall starting pitcher here. He's coming in at 80 overall and 84 potential. This could have been a good pick for us because he could start in the majors right away and he's left-handed. I was not able to get Discovery left fielder Alvin Liu. The Orioles also found him and he went in the first round, but he only looks okay with 82 potential. And I think it was actually William Lee who I was thinking about taking in the first round as the high floor starter. He's 84 overall with 85 potential, but I don't know how much I really like him. At the end of the day, this was a haul of a draft class for us. 8 really good picks. I'm super happy. Continuing on and moving our way through August, I'm still feeling good about the team. We are taking a few losses here, though. But at 76 and 49, I'm feeling pretty good about things as Tyson Miller was able to get out of that jam. This is where things could get interesting. Tyson Miller just blew a save against the Dodgers. We do win the second game of the series, and we win that series. This is a very good sign. They are comparable to us at 79 and 55. As we get to September call-ups, we're 86 and 52, well in front of the division, and there's no looking back now. Brent Rooker continues to be our best hitter with a 939 OPS. Kurtz and Wilson both above 800, and Soderstrom just 1 point shy of 800. I also see that Santiago Espinal has started to heat up here and is up to a 752 OPS. That is making me feel a lot better about this signing. And for September call-ups, I am going to bring Jamie Arnold up right away. In AAA, he's pitched about 40 innings with a 2.08 ERA. I think at 21 years old, it's time to give the left-hander a shot in place of Walker Buehler. Let's see how he does here during the last month of the season. It has become more and more common for teams to be aggressive bringing up pitching prospects, especially ones who were college players. I also want to bring up Devin Taylor in the outfield, who has gone absolutely nuclear lately in AAA. He's got an 827 OPS, and look at that improvement against lefties, adding 15 contact. I did not think it would happen this soon in our series here. Jamie Arnold makes his debut today against the Nats. The 21-year-old left-hander in a full count here to Ahmed Rosario strikes him out to begin his career. Somebody get that baseball. Four-seamer in the upper 90s and a slider, sweeper, and changeup combination. He has got a pretty solid mix for a starter. A's are dominating the division. Arnold coming in to give us a hand as we push towards the playoffs. Here's a 1-2 pitch to James Wood. He strikes him out, and he strikes out the side. What a debut so far for the rookie. He is getting a lot of support here offensively. We're already up 3-0 in this game, as that's the first base runner he's given up, and immediately he gets thrown out by Langoliers. Keith adds a solo shot. It is 4-0, and we are just pouring it on. The starter Singer is already out of the game for the Nats. Maybe the first bit of trouble here for Arnold in the bottom of the fourth. 2 on and 1 out. Nate Lowe at the plate. There's a nice pitch. So he's got him down 1-2. Looks like he's gearing up a fastball here. That is lined into center, and even Clark's not getting to that one. 2 runs come home there on the double by Lowe. This is where things can spiral for a young starter. You've got to limit the damage here. Dylan Cruz at the plate. Here's a 1-2 pitch, and that's strike 3 at the top of the zone. And one more got to get here. It's Robert Hassel, and he's going to fly out into right. Arnold just gives up the 2. The offense picks him up. Back-to-back doubles. We extend our lead back to 3. And Arnold has a clean 5th inning. Good bounce back. Deja vu here, 2 runners on again with 1 out for Nate Lowe. Arnold has made it all the way to the bottom of the 6th here. Pitch number 81 of the day on its way, and this time he strikes out Lowe. This time trying to get out of the jam without giving up any runs here. The count is full to Dylan Cruz. Runners will be in motion with 2 outs. Here's the pitch, and that's popped up weakly to Langoliers. Arnold gets out of it. 6 strong innings from Arnold lead us to victory here. What a debut for the young pitcher. He gets his first win thanks to some help from the offense, and Soderstrom was 4 for 4 today with the home run. And this snuck up on me a little bit here. Rooker and Soderstrom are 1 and 2 for most home runs in the league this year, ahead of Yordan Alvarez, probably the best hitter in this game. So we are looking very good. I think I'm ready to sim to the end of this season. 102 and 60. Wow. I knew we'd be taking a step forward, of course, but I did not think we would be that much better. Again, last season we had only 66 wins. What a turnaround. We did end up being the most potent offense in the league with 798 runs scored. We beat out the Dodgers. We were also second in home runs with 267, and we'll come back to that in a moment. The big difference, of course, for the A's was our pitching, as we finished top 10 in the league at 8th in ERA. Maley led the way in our rotation, 180 innings with a 3.29 ERA, and there you see Jamie Arnold, 22 innings, 3.22 ERA. He is going to make the playoff roster. In the bullpen, it was Jacob Junis with the lowest ERA, followed by our lefty free agent Jalen Beeks, Curry, and then MacArthur. Now let's go take a look at the league leaders, and Tyler Soderstrom led the league in home runs, and Jacob Wilson, the shortstop, in hits. 48 homers for Soderstrom. What a year. That extension is working out very, very nicely in the first year here. 530 slugging for an 838 OPS. He also adds a silver slugger on top of that, and he's now got an awards page. Right behind him is Brent Rooker, who was our best overall and most consistent hitter this entire season. He combined a great on-base percentage with also great slugging at 583. Very, very impressive year from Wilson. He's also got max contact, and his defense improved tremendously at short. I'm curious to see how much WAR he put up, 6.3. This is a very good team, and it's time to see how we stack up in the playoffs. In the top left of the bracket, we got a first-round bye, and we'll be waiting on Seattle and Baltimore to finish their wildcard series. And this is going to be our playoff rotation with Maley Severino 1-2, reliever Mitch Spence, number 3. He had a pretty solid year. And then the rookie Jamie Arnold, of course, as our 4th starter. Springs is going to move over into long relief. Our lineup is a mixture of very hot and very cold, so I guess we'll have to see what comes out in the postseason. 1 year removed from being one of the worst teams in the league, the A's are the 1 seed in the AL, and we take on the Mariners. It all starts here. It is the ALDS, and none of what happened in the regular season matters if we can't get it done here in October. And on our mound is the ace, Tyler Mahle, 3.29 ERA this season. Hopefully he can lead the way for us in a playoff push. Mariners roster is pretty familiar, although it notably does not have Josh Naylor, and they did add Xavier Edwards, one of the most broken hitters in the game, as well as Yoan Moncada. Edwards leads off the game, deep into left. Soderstrom tracking it down, makes the catch, 1 out. The key matchup for us is this man right here, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. We've got to keep him from hitting like 32 home runs in this series. In this roster, he is 98 overall with very good power and clutch. Mahle delivers a 2-2, and he strikes out Cal. Foul tip, Langoliers holds on to it. Tough matchup today, one of the best starters in the game, Brian Wu on the mound. The good news is he is a righty, and as I've mentioned throughout this video, we are better against right-handed pitching. The hits leader from the regular season, leading things off for us, 1-2 pitch from Wu to Jacob Wilson. He's going to hit a lazy fly ball into center, and Julio makes the grab. Our key matchup is this guy, Nick Kurtz. 5.6 WAR from Nick Kurtz in the regular season. What is he going to bring in the postseason? Here's a 2-2 from Wu. He strikes him out. In steps our best hitter of the year, Brent Rooker, and he also strikes out. Leadoff single here in the top of the second for Julio Rodriguez. A lot of speed over there on first. And the M's took down the O's because of how good their offense has been. J.P. Crawford batting .375. There's a base hit on the left. Mahle in a little bit of trouble here at the top of the second. Here's a full count pitch. He strikes out Eli White. No doubt our best chance to win is with him on the mound. Here's a 1-2 to Moncada. He strikes him out, 2 down. One more guy to get here. It's a Rosarena all the way down in the 8 hole, and that's grounded up the middle. Runners were on the move. That'll bring in a run. This is a huge pitch in this game. 2-2 on the way to Edwards, lined up the middle for a base hit. 2 more come home on the single by Edwards. It's 3-0 already. So we have got our work cut out for us already here in Game 1. That was not good. Soderstrom gets us on the board here with a 2-run shot. It is 3-2. And Mahle's out of the game here already for the bullpen, getting going here in the 5th inning. The Mariners extended their lead again. It's 5-2. That's a base hit from Rooker, and Kurtz was already on first. AL home run leader from the regular season, already homered once today. Tyler Soderstrom at the plate, and he's done it again. This time a 3-run shot into deep right center. We are all tied up. 5 runs, and all 5 of them are coming off the bat of Tyler Soderstrom. Putting up 5 runs against Wu is very impressive as Jalen Beeks is trying to work a clean inning, and he does. Out for a 2nd inning of work, and there's 2 on, but he gets out of it. Beeks has been excellent today. 3rd inning of work, but that's a base hit for Canzone. This is not who I want to see right now. Cal Raleigh from the right side. He draws a walk. Beeks was pitching around him. That's not going to help out a whole lot, though, because now he has to face Julio Rodriguez with 2 on, and he grounds one. Beeks knocks it down. Over to first. We get an out. And coach goes to the pen for Tyson Miller, the closer, to try to finish this off. One of the Mariners' most iconic players right now, J.P. Crawford, grounder to second base. McNeil handles that, and we're still tied. Both Butler and Keith have already struck out here, and it's up to Jeff McNeil, and he goes down swinging. We are headed to extras. The Mariners have out-hit us today 12-6. Tyson Miller works the 10th. He's given up a walk to Rosarena, but gets out of the inning. And as we try to walk it off this time, we'll have to do it against Matt Brash and his nasty slider. Nick Kurtz weakly out into shallow center, and we're going to the 11th. Seems like nobody wants to take this game and run away with it. Here's a 1-2 to Langoliers. Out to right, deep, to the track, to the wall, it's caught. Wilson, Kurtz, and Rooker do up here. A 3-2 to Wilson, that's a leadoff walk. Kurtz, that might be a double play, and it is. Brent Rooker, here's the pitch, and that's flown out into right. I will see you in the 14th. 7 straight scoreless innings from both teams. At this point, it's getting kind of old. pushing midnight here. I'm pretty sure just about everyone is getting ready to go home. Runner's going for second. He's in there. That was a strike, though, so here's a 1-2 to Colt Keith, and that's strike 3. This is becoming torture. There's only been 1 hit. Make that 2 hits in the last 9 innings. Rooker! Finally! Sends us home with a no-doubter into left. Wow. What a game. 16 innings later, Brent Rooker puts one over the wall against Taj Bradley. And so we're up 1-0. It's time to simulate some games here. Severino takes on Logan Gilbert. We lose 10-3, and now heading into Seattle, we win Game 3 of the series. And that means Jamie Arnold has a chance to clinch this for us. Just like Trey Savage in real life in 2025, Arnold goes up multiple layers of the minors to now be making a playoff start. And he's got to go into Seattle to do this. He strikes out Edwards to start the game. And there we go. Colt Keith gets us on the board with a 2-run shot in the second. Arozarena gets one back. Now there's a runner on second, and we're all tied up just like that. There's 2 outs at the top of the 4th. We've got runners on the corners. Still tied up. Luis Castillo on the mound. Denzel Clark pops it right back to Cal Raleigh. Arnold has settled in pretty nicely into the 5th inning. Here he gets through it, only giving up 2 so far. He comes back out for the 6th, and it's another clean inning. Another good chance to score. 2 on, 1 out for Nick Kurtz. That's a ground ball, fair, up the first base line. Robles gets it in, but not in time. The A's take a 3-2 lead. Arnold did his job today, and now he hands it over to the bullpen, starting off with Jacob Junis. We are just 9 outs away from winning this series and moving on to the CS. And now we're just 3 outs away. Jalen Beeks is staying in to try to get the save. Beeks was phenomenal in the regular season. He's got Cal Raleigh down 1-2. Here's the pitch, and that's strike 3. And here comes Tyson Miller. Chance of Julio rain out here. 3-2 pitch from Tyson Miller. That misses. And Julio's going for second. Langoliers not in time. Arozarena, strike 3. 1 out away, and he is livid. Robles comes to the plate trying to save the Mariners' season. 1 strike away. Tyson Miller delivers. That's popped up. Weakly into right. Butler over, and he makes the catch. We're headed to the CS. Looking at the bracket, it's going to be between the Rays and the Red Sox here for the CS, and as I simulate ahead, it is the Rays. The Rays' best player is Junior Caminero, of course, but they also have Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, and maybe the most exciting player is Chandler Simpson, and I also see that they added Zach Neto. Looks like they traded for him. They have McClanahan as their ace and Drew Rasmussen as a very solid 2, as well as adding Zach Gallen. And trust me, I know the Rays, and this is not a deal the Rays would ever do right here. This is my personal favorite team, but for this series, I'm an Athletics fan, and here we go. I simulate Game 1, and we are all tied up with Wilson looking for a cycle. 9-9 here in the bottom of the 11th. The Rays typically do not simulate too well here in the middle of the 2020s in my experience, but they've managed to make it to the CS. Anyway, back to the task at hand. Bottom 11, Wilson at the plate. And Wilson flies out into center. Uchida is a pretty tough reliever. Count is full to Brent Rooker with Nick Kurtz on deck, and Rooker draws a walk. Great opportunity to walk it off here. Nick Kurtz, another weak fly out into center. That's going to be 2 outs. Nasty changeup is what Uchida has, and he strikes out Langoliers. We're going to the 12th. And this time I am not watching 16 innings, so I'm going to simulate to the end of this one. And there it is. Soderstrom walks it off on a solo shot. He had another 2-homer game there, and he's been incredible in the playoffs so far with a 1.227 OPS in the bottom right there. The Rays might have a pitching edge, but I do overall feel like we're the better team, although we lose Game 2, and in Game 3, MacArthur's trying to hold on. Randall Grichuk is at the plate with runners on the corners. This time we're in the Trop, and it seems like every single one of these playoff games has been going to extra innings. Grichuk, that's just foul, thankfully. MacArthur with 95 walks per 9 had about a 3 ERA in the regular season. Pretty solid. Here's an 0-2 to Grichuk. That's lined into left, but it's caught by Soderstrom. 14 hits and 5 runs for the Rays, 17 hits and 6 runs for the A's, and Nick Kurtz was 4 for 7. Inching our way closer to a World Series berth, Jamie Arnold takes the mound in Game 4, which we lose, and now in Game 5, we lose again. As Luis Severino takes the mound in Game 6, our backs are against the wall. Rays have a very good contact lineup with Simpson, Mangum, who was traded in real life, Yandy Diaz, and then their biggest power threat, Junior Caminero, who doubles home a run in the first. Brandon Lau, who was also traded in real life in the offseason, comes up with 2 on and 2 outs. We're still in the top of the first here. Severino struggling a bit with his command here, and he misses on that one. The bases are loaded. Randall Grichuk, 98 off the bat, but I think it's popped up, and it looks like Clark is going to settle under that one, and Severino limits the damage to 1. And the Rays starter is Ryan Pepio, who has been struggling in the playoffs. Jittery Jacob Wilson has also been struggling, only batting .205, and that's well hit. Deep into right, Grichuk goes back, and it's over the wall. Leadoff home run. We're tied. You don't see Jacob Wilson go oppo that often, and he just sneaks it over the wall. Both teams put up a run in the first, but since then, crickets. We've got a chance to score here with 2 on and nobody out in the bottom of the 5th. Jeff McNeil at the plate. McNeil, grounder softly to second. Lau over to second. Does not get the double play. That brings up Denzel Clark with runners on the corners. He goes down swinging. That leaves it up to Jacob Wilson, who homered earlier. 2-2 pitch, and that's in there for strike 3. It's too early to say, but I can't help but think that we're in line for another extra inning game, although we've got 2 on here for Butler. The A's go to the bullpen, and now the bases are loaded. Clevenger will be part of the U.S.'s WBC roster here come March. Here's a 2-2 pitch. He strikes out Keith. Severino still in the game for us, gives up a solo shot to Randall Grichuk, and that's going to boot him. We're really feeling the heat now as we're in the bottom of the 8th, only 6 more outs to try to come back in this game. Kurtz, there's a base hit. That's going to get into the corner. No, it's stopped by Mangum. And the Rays go to their bullpen for Pete Fairbanks, who's now on the Marlins in real life. Very iconic closer, 1-2 pitch, ground ball to third. That might be a double play. Lau with a jump throw, and that ends the 8th. And now here comes Griffin Jax for the 9th. He is 7 for 7 in save opportunities. 2-2 to Langoliers. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. Lawrence Butler struck out. Here's Colt Keith, 2-2, and he goes down looking. That was a changeup hung right down the middle. And it all comes down to Jeff McNeil. It's been a pretty good run for the A's. And that's a ground ball up the middle. The run is still on. And Jax is out of the game. Here comes Hunter Biggie. Count is 1-2. Here's the pitch. Strike 3. The Rays eliminate the A's. Well, there we go. Season 1, Episode 1 here. We come up just short in 2026, but I do have to say I'm pretty happy with how things went there. 102 wins, I believe, in the regular season, and we do end up just falling short in the CS. Simming through the rest of the playoffs, the Cubs end up taking down the Rays in the 2026 World Series. What a matchup. That is going to do it for Season 1 of All In with the A's. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned. There will be Season 2 coming very soon. And I'm excited to see what we have in store. Hopefully we can make it a little bit further next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm probably going to let this play out for about 10 minutes so you don't know what happened in the end. That's it for Season 1. Peace.